This morning's webcast is all about managing roaming clients using SEP. Again, my name is VanderLinden. I'm a security consultant here at ITS Partners. So a little bit about me. I am a certified Symantec technical specialist as well as an authorized Symantec consultant. I'm a member of the security team here at ITS Partners, and our focus is on the endpoint, including DLP, data loss prevention, PGP, and SEP. If you'll notice that one thing that we're kind of focused on is the protection or prevention aspect of it, not remediation. It turns out that Grandma was right when she said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Now a little bit about where I work. That's ITS Partners. We're a national partner as well as a platinum partner, and we were awarded Partner of the Year in 2011. We're particularly proud of that. That award does not come easy. It's not about just revenue or units sold. It also deals with customer satisfaction. How satisfied are the customers after we do the job? Have we done the job? And we do. We do a very good job, and we're very proud of that award that we've won. We are, as a company, focused on the endpoint. So there's endpoint management products like Altiris and, of course, the security solutions that we already talked about. These are the points we're going to hit. It's not going to take long. It's not intended to make you an expert in SEP. We just want to give you a few highlights, some thought-provoking ideas, hopefully, and maybe you can come up with some solutions or maybe even some questions of your own. So for those of you that already use SEP, please forgive me. This is for the people that are perhaps thinking about it, getting into SEP or maybe upgrading from SEP 11. So just a little bit about the technologies used. The SEP it combines advanced endpoint protection technologies into a single client, and it's managed by the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager. We call that SEPM. SEP protects servers, desktops, laptops, just about anything on your network, even Macs. SEP is more than just basic antivirus software, but it combines some other advanced tools to proactively secure your computer against threats, known threats and unknown threats. Some of the technologies used are those shown on the screen. And if you want more information about any of these, again, feel free to email us, or there's videos available on some of these, and you can find those at www.vimeo.com/ITSpartners. One of the technologies used in SEP is the live update. Live update is a technology that checks for, and then it distributes content to the SEP clients and servers. Of course, it includes all the things you see there on the right side of the screen: virus signatures, heuristic signatures, product updates. The Symantec Live Update server is managed and hosted by Symantec, and it's accessed over the internet by Symantec customers. Either SEPM, Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, or a client can access those updates directly from Symantec. Okay, here's what we might find in a typical design for a network, and I know this is oversimplified, but I just want to get you to have a feel for some of the components that are used in SEP. On the right side of the screen, on the left side of the screen, we'll see what might be a typical infrastructure. With on the bottom, we see LAN with clients attached to it, and all the clients are protected by SEP. It's a single interface for all the SEP products on the client side. And above that, and the blue square above that, that's a corporate data center, is a server. That's the SEPM. That manages all the products and product components, and it simplifies administration and software because, again, there's a single interface on the SEPM as well. Connected to that is the SEPM database, and that stores the configuration data used to manage the SEPM clients. Now, if we look over on the right side of the screen, this is something that may be added. It may be relevant to your situation or not, but this is pretty typical. There's a branch office, and at that branch office, there's another LAN. And in this case, what we have is a GUP, that stands for Group Update Provider. A Group Update Provider assists in the distribution of the definitions and the product updates, etc. The GUP doesn't have to be a standalone server. That can be one of the clients on the network that's designated as. Now, this is the problem, and what we're talking about today is this guy in the middle, this is the laptop. He represents your roaming users. That can be telecommuters, sales staff, people on the road, whatever. Sometimes they are connected to the corporate network. They may be at headquarters. Sometimes they might be at a branch office. But more often than not, they're at neither of these places. And so they can't connect to the GUP. They can't connect to the SEPM. And what we have is our problem today, and that's how do we keep this laptop user updated with the latest virus definitions? Well, the answer to that is location and location awareness. Location has to deal with, well, let me back up. Policies and settings, they need to change from time to time based on the location from where the computer is trying to connect to the corporate network. You can create different locations for each group that the computer is a member. Think of it kind of along the lines of a profile. You can customize the policy and the settings for each location according to certain conditions for that location. We'll take a look at that in just a few minutes. The policies for locations on a corporate network, for example, you're behind the firewall, everything's safe, you're on the mothership. So those are not going to be as strict as the policies for a remote location. Again, in a minute or two we'll look at that. So location awareness has to do with the best security policies are, again, they're dependent from the location where the computer connects. And to protect the network, we want certain conditions that they're known as triggers that will automatically switch the client from one of these locations to the other. That sounds a little complicated, but I'm sure it'll be clear to you in a few minutes. Now, unlike Altiris, unfortunately, location is not available in Altiris, but it is available in SEP, and it's on by default. So there's nothing to turn on, it's already there. The only thing that there is just in SEP is just one location is defined, so by default they all fall into that location. So it is on, but it's not necessarily used. Okay, while the SEPM is firing up here, for those of you that are not current users of SEPM, this is what the management console looks like. Along the the left-hand side, you see a number of tabs that they'll do different functions. Monitors and reports, they're very similar to one another. Reports are a little more in-depth than the monitors. Go to the bottom now. Admin, you can add or change certain admin privileges. You can add admin accounts and restrict those. The clients are the clients that are connected to the computer or to the manager have been customized and configured. What we're interested in, however, is the policies excuse me, and the live update. The live update, this is where we'll start. This is the setting for all the computers that will connect to this SEPM. And I'm going to edit the policy just so we can look at it, but we're not actually going to change it. In the server settings under the live update policy, we'll see that the first server that the clients will connect to is the default management server, which is our SEPM, and after that they'll connect to the live update. So that's where that part of it is configured. Now I'm going to go to the clients, and I want to show you the policies on this page, and you'll see down in the middle of the right side pane we've got 2 location-specific policies. As I said, the SEPM comes with one. It's the default. I added one, and it's rather pointless for you to sit and watch the process of this being done. So I added it in advance. And I just want to take a look at the policies real quick, and we'll start on the bottom here. The second location is remote, and I'm just going to click on this. On the top you'll see that the remote location is the default location setting in case of a conflict. This is the most restrictive setting that we have, and so it should be the default. If all else fails, this is the one that we're going to use. And what triggers this is, we'll see in the window here, the client computer cannot or does not connect to the management server. We can add more conditions, and it can get pretty involved. Again, I don't want to make you an expert on this. I just want to give you an overview. So for the remote computers, if we'll go down just a little bit to the live update settings, and we'll look at this, and it looks very much like the screen that we looked at just a few minutes ago under policies. This is the live update settings for all remote systems. I'll click on the server settings, and the default management server is turned off. If we can't get to the default management server, there's no point in trying to get our updates from it. So we default down to getting our updates from the live update server. That's the Symantec managed server that's accessible via the internet. If our remote user, we could create another group. We could, in the middle of the screen here, we see the GUP. This is where we could have this remote computer connect to a GUP. So if you've got a machine that's moving from branch office to branch office, this would be someplace where you'd want to configure that. Now I want to take a look at what the local settings are, and you'll see that these are very much like what we just saw on the policy setting page, that we will use the default server and then fall back to the live update server. So in a nutshell, that's how it is. You'll also notice under remote settings, this is a little off topic, under remote settings there's a few other things we can do. We can deal with any of these policies. For example, application and device control. One of the things we can configure there is if the remote client cannot connect to the default management server, we can use device control to say, for example, prohibit all writing to USB drives. That's just an example. That's a little off what we want to talk about today, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. I just want to point out that there are a number of things that you can do besides just where do I get my virus updates and so forth. Okay, so that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me this morning. I told you it wasn't going to be long, and we've only been going for about 18 or 20 minutes here. A quick overview of what we've been talking about today. The policy and settings for a particular machine are very often driven by the location of where that machine is, or how that machine connects back to the corporate network, whether it's actually on the network or whether there's a VPN into the network, or even if it's not connected to the network at all. These settings are very easy to create in the SEPM. You only have to create it once in the SEPM, and that policy is distributed to all the machines. And location awareness, don't forget, is enabled by default, but without more than one location defined, it doesn't do anything. The default location is where all the computers will connect to. So that's the last thing you need to know, is that additional locations need to be defined, and it can vary greatly. So that about wraps it up for me. Thank you very much for those of you that attended.